Today, we're diving into a fascinating puzzle, a real head-scratcher, all captured in a single image. We've got these robots, a hidden message, and the problem is something got seriously lost in translation. This one cryptic picture tells a story of communication gone completely haywire, and we're going to figure out exactly where it all went wrong. So, take a look at this. You can just feel it, right? This image of robots and laser beams, it's telling a story. There's a secret code buried in there somewhere. And you're not wrong, there is. But here's the real question. Is it the story it was supposed to tell? Well, stick around, because we're about to find out together.
Now, you might be thinking this is just some random, cool-looking piece of art. But nope, this was created from a very specific blueprint, a really detailed set of instructions. And lucky for us, we have that blueprint.
So to crack this case, we're going to have to act like detectives. We've got the original plan, that's the Serbian text prompt, and we've got the final product, the image you see here. Our job is to compare the two and find the clues. Okay, let's dive in.
All right, first things first, let's meet our cast of characters. The instructions were super clear about which cyborgs should be in this scene and, what their names should be.
And boom, right out of the gate, we've got our first major clue. The prompt asks for 5 specific cyborgs, each with a Cyrillic letter, B, E, L, Y, and A. But look at the image. We get 4 of them, but the robot Y, it's gone. It's been replaced by this mysterious 5th robot, marked only with a blank square. So, who's this imposter?
And the plot thickens when we look at the centerpiece. The blueprint says, plain as day, put a cyborg with the letter E right in the middle of the action. But the image just ignores that completely. There is no central cyborg. Instead, we get this bizarre floating stack of letters. Our hero is literally missing from center stage.
Okay, so the characters are all wrong, and the stage is set completely incorrectly. But what about the action itself? The instructions laid out a very clear communication network of laser beams that was supposed to connect these robots in a very specific order.
The plan was basically a 4-step relay race. Think of it like a game of telephone, but with lasers. The message was supposed to start with B, go through I to L, then L would confirm back to the central I, who would then pass the final message through J to A. Sounds simple, right? Well,
now here's what's so interesting. For one brief, shining moment, it actually works. That very first signal from B to the letter stack, that's perfect. Exactly as planned. But that's it. That is the last time this image follows the rules. Right after this, the communication just completely breaks down. So let's trace this total breakdown, step by step. Path 2 immediately goes off the rails. The signal to LA comes from that weird letter stack, not a person. Then, LA goes totally rogue, sending its signal to our mystery square robot instead of back to the center. And for the grand finale, that square robot just hijacks the message and sends it straight to A, completely bypassing the cyborg that was supposed to be there. It's a total cascade of miscommunication.
So let's just recap here. We've got the wrong characters, the wrong stage, and a chain of command that's just completely broken. Which of course leads us to the biggest question of all. What was this whole elaborate performance supposed to achieve in the first place?
So what was the point of all this? With all these letters and signals flying around, what was the message these robots were actually trying to send?
And here it is. The final line of the blueprint reveals the entire goal. The whole point, the entire reason for this complex robotic relay was to form the Serbian name Ilija, spelled E-L-E-I-J-A.
And this is where it all comes crashing down. The image totally fails at its one primary objective. The letters we actually have on the robots, B, E, L, and A, they can't spell Ilija. It's missing a second E, and most importantly, it's missing the letter Ye. And who was Ye? The very same cyborg that got replaced by our mysterious robot with a square.
So let's look at the final report card here. The plan versus the reality. On every single count, from the cast of characters to the centerpiece to the communication and the final goal, the reality failed to match the plan. The entire system broke down, which meant the ultimate goal of spelling that name was, well, simply impossible. So yeah, this whole thing was a pretty spectacular failure of translation. But it leaves us with one last really interesting question. Is this just a simple error, a machine that couldn't quite follow complex instructions? Or are we witnessing something else entirely? A kind of new interpretation, a machine's own artistic license, creating something strange and compelling that was never intended. What do you think?